And welcome back to Who Would Win, a special birthday Who Would Win for Super U 9001. Your birthday was actually a few days ago. I briefly commented in the comment section when you asked, I think in the most recent Who Would Win, if I had just forgotten. And I didn't forget. I technically didn't forget. I kind of did, but I didn't. I've been busy this week, and because of 4th of July, my day off switched. So normally on my day off, which is Wednesday, I have enough time to check, what's coming up, check what I gotta do, pre-record stuff. But because it was Tuesday instead, it just kind of threw me off balance. But I'm here now, getting to it, so let's get into it. You asked for your birthday, who would win? Who would win in the fight? OG Ben Tennyson was our original 10 versus OG Ash Ketchum with his Kanto 10, if you will. His 10 Kanto Pokemon that he actually caught during the Kanto series, during the original run Pokemon. So this is going to be, and to be clear, what does that imply? We know what that implies for Ben Tennyson. That's Gray Matter, that's Heat Blast, that's Diamond Head, that's Wild Mutt, that's Forearms, that's Ghost Freak, Ripjaw, Stinkfly, Upgrade. Oh god, I'm blanking on the last one. Upgrade. Okay, who did I miss on that? Let me try that one more time. Gray Matter, Heat Blast, Diamond Head, Forearms, Wild Mutt, Ghost Freak, Ripjaws, Stinkfly, Upgrade. Why am I forgetting the last one? Give me one moment. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna look it up right now as I'm thinking on it. Who was the one I'm missing here? I'm trying to remember all the. Oh, Accelerate. That's who I'm forgetting. I can't believe I forgot Accelerate. Accelerate. And for Ash, that wouldn't be like I said, the Pokemon that he caught during his journey in Kanto, which in theory would mean, which would mean Pikachu, Charizard, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Butterfree, because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, these are the ones you included in the list. Butterfree, Primeape, Tauros, Kingler, Muck, and then, see, I don't know if we want to go Pidgeotto or Pidgeot, because Ash does, by all accounts, still own Pidgeot. He's just never come back for it. I will say that throughout the majority of the journey, he had Pidgeotto, so we're going to go with Pidgeotto. That's just my stick. And this battle basically is going to break down in 2 fashions. Technically, it's going to break down in 11 fashions. Because original Ben's Omnitrix had a recharge period every time he used it. He couldn't use it in quick succession, except when he unlocked the Master Control. When he unlocked the Master Control, he could just immediately just rotate through all of his alien forms. Easy peasy, no doubt. And let's be very clear right now. If we're dealing with Ben, who has access to the Master Control, he's going to He's going to clear all of Ash's Pokemon. It's not going to matter if he has one Pokemon that is strong enough to take on any single one of them. The sheer diversity he would have on call would be enough to be even like Charizard, which arguably would be his ace at that point. But let's just look at it from an individual perspective. Now, normally Ash is only allowed to carry 6 Pokemon, but let's say there's a glitch that allows him a full 10 in this case. Who would win in all of those breakdowns against all of Ben's aliens? Well, let's see here. You have Gray Matter. Let's get Gray Matter out of the way right now. Because this would have to be a neutral ground, we're not giving any distinct edge to either of them, because then that's just playing into the advantage of one of the others. Because it's a neutral ground, Gray Matter is not a fighting alien. It's just not an alien designed for combat. It's a thinking alien. It's an alien that can strategize, but it can't actually fight. So, yeah, Gray Matter is a loss for Ben no matter what. So, full on, he just loses straight out 10 out of 10 fights. So now I'm just going to use the order I remember them popping up in the show. So we have, I believe, Wild Mutt was the first one. No, Heat Blast was the first one. So Heat Blast, I don't quite remember the name of Heat Blast species, but it's a species of alien that actually lives on a star. So its natural heat, like emitting body heat is hot enough to survive living on a star, which is, God, the average temperature of a star. Hold on. Average temperature of a star. The average temperature of a star is, roughly speaking, 476 degrees between 4,760 to 12,140 degrees Fahrenheit, or 2,900 degrees to 7,000 degrees Kelvin. That's pretty hot. Should note that human bone, as I learned from Nobody, disintegrates around 1,500 degrees. And his basement is treated for double that. So they weren't finding him in the wreckage. Great film, Nobody. If you like John Wick, you'll love Nobody. But yeah, so even though we know that Charizard's breath can melt boulders, it's like boulders. Let's try just what temperature does rock melt at? What temperature does rock melt at? Does rock let's see here, rock melt at. Okay, what temperature does rock melt? Now it's gonna depend a little bit on rocks, but generally speaking, rock generally melts at between 1,100 degrees to 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit. So even lowballing it, Heat Blast's natural body heat is way hotter than anything Charizard can produce. At least Ash Charizard. And we also have to take into consideration whether or not any alien Ben takes the form of is something that Charizard would want to fight, because this is still Kanto Charizard, where he was listening to Ash. Now, let me be very clear. He didn't specify that all these guys are listening to Ash. Like 9 out of 10 of these guys listen to Ash, especially even Primate eventually listened to Ash. And we know Charizard did, just during the Orange Islands. For the sake of argument, I'll accept both. The one where a Charizard is Kanto Charizard, and one where he's listening Charizard. His Kanto team. Either way, I mean, the fact is, Heat Blast can pretty much incinerate any one of these Mon in a heartbeat. Even Squirtle, which can, is a firefighting Pokemon, cannot produce any water Squirtle would produce would just evaporate. So, yeah, there's really just nothing that Ash has on his team that can go up against that type of literal firepower. So, Heat Blast gets the overall win on that. I think Wildmutt is a bit more of a unique case. This is due to the fact that Wildmutt is the closest, I think, to a straight animal that we have to go against a Pokemon. Against the smaller individuals of the team, I think Wildmutt doesn't stand a very good, not smaller, that's the right term. The ones that have less sheer strength are less of a gimmick to them. So, for instance, Pidgeotto doesn't really have much to go up against him. Same would be for Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur definitely have vines, and it's the question of, is Wildmutt strong enough to evade or not get tangled in the vines or overpower the vines that Bulbasaur has? And the answer to that is maybe. We see large Pokemon get tangled up all the time. I think Wildmutt's extrasensory perception, though, definitely would give Wildmutt at least somewhat of an edge to not get caught. But at the same time, remember, too, this is also Ben. This isn't a Pokemon being trained. These are Ben's alien forms. Plus, Bulbasaur does also have some, like Razor Leaf, Solar Beam. That might be a toss-up. I legitimately think Wildmutt can't beat Muck. I actually don't think Wildmutt can beat Muck, because Muck is just sludge. Yes, even in game, Muck can take physical attacks, but that doesn't really mean much in the case of like an anime fight. As we saw, Bellsprout in the league couldn't do a damn thing against Muck because of that bulk. So yeah, I actually don't think Wildmutt could take on Muck. In fact, if anything, Muck could use sludge and just clog up Wildmutt's pores, or gills as you call them, extrasensory perception stuff. Fire, Charizard's fire might be an issue for Wildmutt, just sensing the heat and all that. Squirtle, I think Wildmutt would be okay against. Pikachu, the amount of voltage Pikachu can produce might be too much for Wildmutt to handle. Overall, I actually think Ash has a pretty good shot against Wildmutt. If we also take into consideration Primeape, Tauros, they're both physically powerful Pokemon. The Wildmutt, I think, might be able to take on Tauros taking the bull by the horns, and it does have spiked paws, opposable thumbs on those paws. Primeape, I think, because it's a fighting type, can just deliver a stronger hit. So I think Ash would actually take the majority wins against Wild Mud. Against Diamond Head, no. Because again, Crystal can shatter and melt. Crystal's just stone, so it can melt. But Charizard can't produce the heat to do it. Probably. And plus, Diamond Head is far more versatile than, I think anything Ash actually has. Crystals weirdly enough do have some level of electrokinetic abilities, although it's not a great deal. They're usually better. They work better as prisms, but to some degree they are able to harness electrical currents. So in theory, Ben just has to put a wall up against or wall in front of any attack that comes with him. Pikachu's electricity, Squirtle's water, Bulbasaur's solar beam, which is basically light, by the way, which that would just be refraction. So there you go there. Charizard's fire, Muck's sludge, like all this really wouldn't matter. So is there any Pokemon on the team that could really do anything to Diamond? Because Diamond Head also is one of the most durable aliens that Ben had in his original set. I suppose if you pound on Crystal hard enough, sure. I'd say Primeape's probably the only one who has a legitimate shot being a fighting type, and if you were to interpret a Diamond Head as a Pokemon type, it's clearly a rock type, which is weak to fighting. So Primeape might be the one that could get a win in. But I think the bulk of the wins would go to Diamond Head. So that's those 3 down. Accelerate, just so I don't forget it this time. Accelerate speed, Ash doesn't have a Pokemon that can actually compete with the speed of Accelerate. There are Pokemon that can move extremely fast. And there are some Pokemon, I think, that do move faster than 500 miles an hour, which is what its Accelerate's needed to be able to move at, roughly. But, yeah, the fact is he can create tornadoes, think that fast, and move that fast constantly. Ash doesn't really have a Mon that can keep up with that. Or have attacks that move that fast anyway. So, yeah, I mean, we know that Accelerate can dodge lightning, so Pikachu's not going to be able to get hit. And just with sheer momentum and, speed, is going to be able to body most of the Mons on the team. The only Mons that might have some up and up on that is Pidgeotto because it can fly, and Butterfly because it can fly, but they can Accelerate can make a tornado, just catch them. Muck just because of its sheer bulk, again, not really being able to do much in terms of like a physical hit on this Pokemon because of the type of body it has. But again, tornadoes, just toss it up and toss it out of the fight. And Charizard because of the sheer firepower, but again, creating wind, you're moving fast enough that, you're probably not actually being hit by anything that any of the fire being thrown at you. So Accelerate is probably going to take majority, if not all, those fights. Let's go to Ripjaw next. Ripjaw is one of those aliens that, if we're gonna have it if we're gonna at least be fair to Ripjaw, unlike Gray Matter, where the only way that Gray Matter can win is if there's actually tech to use to its advantage. Ripjaw can't even be out in the environment outside of the water. Ripjaw needs water, otherwise it can't function. So, for the sake of argument, let's at least give a little pool of water, but at least give Ripjaw the ability to fight, or at least the ability to function. And you may say, well, why did you give Gray Matter ability to function? Because we've seen Pokemon arenas that have like a pool of water. That's fair. That still makes it neutral ground. Because otherwise, Gray Matter can at least exist out of the water, just in an environment. Ripjaw needs water to function. Or we could at least say that there's an Abe Sapien type thing with this where he's got a breathing apparatus on. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Why didn't they ever do that? Maybe they did. I don't remember. So let's say that. Ripjaw, honestly, Ripjaw in this case would be a water type. Pikachu would immediately just electrocute it. Actually, Ripjaw, in the water, Ripjaw is pretty powerful, and I think it probably would be able to mess with Squirtle pretty hard. I don't know if Squirtle would lose, though. Squirtle's shell's pretty tough. Otherwise, though, Ripjaw is actually one of the squishier aliens of the group because it has no real special abilities outside of the water. So even if you gave it a breathing apparatus, it would actually be in a lot of trouble in terms of like a fight. Even in the water, Charizard can definitely evaporate the water in the arena if it really needs to. Pikachu can electrify the water. Pidgeotto's got wind capabilities or range attacks. The only ones that might struggle against Ripjaw might be able to defeat are like the close range fighters like Primeape, like Tauros. Honestly, Bulbasaur would probably even shred this guy. I'd say that's probably a little more in Ash's favor. So Ripjaw, yeah. Stinkfly. Stinkfly is... I've done Wild Mutt, I've done Heat Blast, I've done Diamond Head, I've done Gray Matter, I've done Accelerate, Ripjaw, Stinkfly. Stinkfly is actually very unique. Stinkfly can fly, shoot sticky goo that's both flammable and stinks, and is adhesive. It is actually pretty durable for its exoskeleton. Still, the fire would be an issue, so Charizard can fly, so that probably is a loss for Stinkfly against Charizard. I have a feeling Butterfree and Pidgeotto are in for some trouble. I think that, from what we can see in the show, Stinkfly has much faster capability of flying than those two, and actually has other abilities it can rely on, and is actually pretty durable in actual physical confrontation. So I think it takes those two in a fight. If Pikachu hits Stinkfly, I think Stinkfly is going to be in trouble. So I'll call that one a wash, because all he has to do is really bind up Pikachu with some goo. Although if Pikachu just electrifies the goo and it's flammable, well, Pikachu can get out of that and then shock it. So actually, I'll give that to Pikachu. Muck is an interesting one. By the way, you'll notice I haven't really brought Kingler up in this. I don't think anything changes with Kingler except maybe with Ripjaw. And honestly, I think Kingler would probably be turned into King Crown like so against Ripjaw. It's also partly because I forgot Kingler. But Kingler, I like Kingler, but it is what it is. So, I think words here. Muck. Muck's the unique one because Muck's a poison type. Well, Muck can't really do anything from range. So, I mean, honestly, in theory, he could put... that one's kind of a wash. I don't think either of them really win that fight. In theory, he could pin Muck down, assuming Muck just doesn't, sludge out of there. Tauros, Primeape, they're and Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, honestly. That's all kind of... Tauros is probably just going to get, bogged down by sludge. Same with Primeape. Squirtle and Bulbasaur can attack from range, but because a Stinkfly stays in the air, Stinkfly's going to have the edge there. So honestly, I don't think that they can take on, the majority of the team can take on Stinkfly. Why it went into this accent, I don't know, but I have, so here we are. So that leaves us with Upgrade, Ghost Freak, and Forearms. Forearms physically is going to take down every one of these guys. Even Muck, he can Thunderclap away. And that's just because sheer power-wise, there's nothing on Ash's team that can compete with Forearms. And durability-wise, nothing on Ash's team really has enough strength to really put Forearms down. Even like fire and electricity, I think they're only going to temporarily stun him. The only way to put Forearms down would probably be to use like a sleep powder from Butterfree or something like that, and that's about it. Or Stun Spore, and even then, there's no guarantee. So I keep saying way big. Forearms is going to kind of sweep Ash's team. That leaves it with Upgrade and Ghost Freak. Ghost Freak doesn't really have many abilities apart from being scary and intangibility and flying. That said, being intangible means that, he can just completely be nonplussed. Can't be touched by anything Ash is going to throw at him. And being a ghost type in this case would mean that including would mean that Tauros, Primeape, none of their attacks are any good. Even if something does hit, and there's no guarantee it would win, take down Ghost Freak completely, although Ghost Freak is not the most durable in individuals. And in theory, it could just scare the living crap out of anyone who, deigns look upon its true face. So, Ghost Freak's probably going to take the majority of those fights. There's scenarios where some of Ash's team wins, but Ghost Freak's taking the majority of those fights. Last but not least, there's Upgrade. And this one's interesting because it's a bio-organic creature. If we're talking about Mons, this would probably be like an electric steel type. If a techno type existed, this would be a techno type, but it doesn't. And really, its ability is to possess machinery, but it does have it has a laser eye feature. It is able of producing a laser. So I guess the question is durability-wise, because it has doesn't really have much of a physical form. It's more of a living liquid. Who wins in that confrontation? So let's see. Charizard. If Charizard gets hit, Charizard could probably be hit with a laser and be okay for a little bit because it's all about the level of strength Ben wants to use, and Ben probably doesn't want to kill these guys. They get into like a beam struggle. I think because of the style of technique, Upgrade would win. But if the Charizard gets like a straight off Fire Blast or Flamethrower, Upgrade's in trouble because its body's not designed for that. Its body is like weak to things like acid and stuff like that. So on that regard, I would give the win probably to Charizard out of sheer attrition. Squirtle, I'm actually going to give the win to Upgrade. Water's not going to really do anything to Upgrade, as far as we can tell. And getting hit with enough Laser Blast is just going to put it down. You'll notice, by the way, for anyone who's going, boy, you didn't give Gray Matter any tech. It's like, I'm not getting Upgrade any tech either. Although Upgrade could possess a Pokeball, that would be messed up. Actually, Upgrade possessing a Pokeball. But regardless. Bulbasaur, the only thing that might trouble Upgrade is the Solar Beam. That's it. Other than that, though, I don't think there's anything to really worry about. Pikachu would be a problem. Pikachu would be a big problem. Electricity would screw with Upgrade hard. So, in that regard, Pikachu probably is going to win that fight. Butterfree Pidgeotto. Well, Butterfree spores aren't going to do anything because it's not organic. I'm going to give that one to, it's kind of like a living bug zapper in a way, Upgrade. I'm going to give that one to Upgrade. Pidgeotto, I'm going to call that one, probably I'm going to give that to Upgrade because eventually he'll probably land a hit on Pidgeotto. That leaves us with Tauros, Primeape, Muck, and Kingler. Kingler, we know Ash's Kingler knew Hyper Beam somehow, so if that hits, well, I think that's going to be Goodnight Irene. Not necessarily kill Upgrade, but definitely put Upgrade down. But that's assuming it hits. And then it's got the recharge time. So I might give that one to Upgrade, but just barely. Primeape and Tauros, because of this body type Upgrade has, I don't know if anything they dish out will do much. And eventually they'll just get worn down by lasers. Muck being a toxic sludge pile and probably having acid-like abilities would be a severe threat to Upgrade. So I think the majority goes to Upgrade, but there's a good couple Mon and Ash's team that could actually pose a big problem to Upgrade. So if you tally it all up, I'm not going to do the actual numbers, but it's very clear that because a couple of the aliens on Ben's team do get sweeped nearly, or do completely, by Ash's team. Gray Matter gets sweeped. Ripjaw pretty much gets sweeped. Wildmutt has a lot, and some of them have trouble because Heat Blast, Forearms, Diamond Head, who else was there? Ghost Freak. Because the majority of them, A, have higher durability, and B, are just easy, can take a majority of the wins more effectively and sweep a lot easier than Ash's team does, I'm going to give the edge to Ben here. So ultimately, that's my thoughts. Now, granted, we are using the original 10 Ben and the original Kanto team Ben. If there's another version of this fight you'd like to see at some point, be it with like Omniforce, Ulta, or Ben 10, yeah, Omniforce, or what was it? Omniverse. Omniverse Ben, Alien Force Ben, a different season Ash. Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Happy birthday, Super Mew 9001. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.